Who is Maveli and why was his kingdom called a perfect society? And how was his kingdom described in Kerala's folk memory? Hello and welcome back to Chaturya. I'm K. Kumar, author and screenwriter. In our previous episodes, we explored the Puranic origins of Mahabali and Vamana and the rich history of the Trivikrama temple where Onam is believed to have originated. But today, we step away from the ancient texts and our temples. Today, we listen to the history that does not live on palm leaves or stone walls. It lives on the tongues of ordinary people. It survives in the melodies sung during the harvest, in the fields, and around the courtyards by generations of Malayali families. In Kerala, the legacy of King Maveli is preserved by one such powerful oral tradition. It is a simple folk song that begins with the lines, "When Maveli ruled the land." Almost every Malayali knows these words. It has become the unofficial anthem of the Onam festival. Some literary historians suggest that the song's earliest folk origins might date back to the 16th century. However, if you pause and truly listen to the lyrics of this song, you realize that this is not just a song of praise for a forgotten king. It is a highly specific, detailed blueprint of a utopian society. It describes a time when all the humans were treated as absolute equals. It speaks of a world completely free of theft, lies, and corruption. In order to understand that how a single folk song shaped the cultural memory of an entire region, we have to look closely at what these lyrics actually say. We need to explore why this specific vision of an ideal world resonated so deeply with the farmers, the merchants, and the everyday people of Kerala, allowing it to survive for so many years in the language of Malayalam. Let us look at the opening lines of this famous folk song. Now, this is in Malayalam and it says that when Maveli ruled the land, all human beings were equal. What does equality mean in this context? It does not necessarily mean that everyone had the exact same wealth. It means that everyone had the exact same dignity. It describes a society where the value of a person was not decided by their background, but by their character. The song then goes on to list exactly what made this era so perfect. It goes on to say that there was no theft, there was no deceit, and not even a single sesame seeds worth of falsehood existed anywhere. In our modern world, we are used to creating complex laws and regulations to ensure justice. But this folk song presents a much simpler idea of harmony. It recalls a time when a person's word was the ultimate truth, and the community was bound by mutual respect and understanding. The lyrics also point out something very specific about everyday life. It says that there were no false measuring weights or deceitful practices in daily trade. Think about why this specific detail was included in a song that survived for generations. For the ordinary working person, fairness is experienced in the marketplace. When a farmer brought his harvest to trade, to the market, he knew that he would not be cheated. When a merchant sold his goods, he did so with complete honesty. Trust was the actual currency of the land. This is the golden age. We find similar ideas of the golden age in many ancient traditions, not just in India, even across the world. Every civilization dreams of a lost golden age. In our Puranas, we call this the Satya Yuga. It is a pure celebration of a universal dharma. The Maveli song is simply Kerala's localized version of that universal dream. It reminds us that when human beings align themselves with truth and fairness, society functions flawlessly. It is not a story of one community taking from another. It is a story of a time when nobody felt the need to take anything unfairly at all from anyone. To understand Maveli's kingdom, we must look at the true equalizer in the story. I'm not talking about Mahabali, Maveli, or Vamana. I'm talking about nature itself. Onam, at its heart, is an agrarian festival. It marks the end of the heavy monsoons and the arrival of the Malayalam month of Chinyam, a time of renewed brightness and agricultural abundance. During this season, the earth, the soil, it gives generously to everyone. The monsoon rains fall just as heavily on a modest patch of rich red soil as they do on the sandy coastal plain. The yield of the land depends on the grace of the season and the honest labor of the farmer, not on a person's title. When the harvest was bountiful and the granaries were full, the artificial divisions between people naturally would fade away. Scarcity and desperation are often what drive theft, deceit, and false measures in the marketplace. Of course, human greed is another factor. But in a time of natural abundance, where the earth provides for all, generosity becomes effortless. The reign of Maveli, as described in the folk song, is a beautiful metaphor for this perfect harmony between humanity and nature. The song is as much a tribute to the selfless generosity of the land as it is to the legendary king. It reminds us that when we respect the earth and share its fruits equitably, we are not remembering an ancient myth anymore. We are actively participating in that utopian kingdom. So this Onam, when you hear that song, or when you remember Maveli, who ruled the land, do not hear it as a story about a king. Hear it as a description of a world we are still trying to build. A world where prosperity is shared, where power does not mean arrogance, and where justice is ordinary, and where people trust one another. Not the three worlds, not the heavens, not even Sutala or Pātalam. It is cultural memory. That is Maveli's greatest kingdom. Keralam waits every Onam not for a king, it waits for the kingdom that he represents. The return of Maveli is a memory of the future we still hope to build. A golden age, an age of truth. If you found value in this episode, then please share it with your friends and family. It helps the channel grow and also motivates me to create more fascinating content from our Indian Puranas as well as our regional folklore. And I want to know your thoughts. Do you believe that a society where everybody is equal is ever possible? Tell me in the comments below and let's get a respectful discussion started. And please follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. I'm K. Harikumar and you are watching Chaturya. എല്ലാവർക്കും എൻ്റെ ഹൃദയം നിറഞ്ഞ ഓണാശംസകൾ. I wish you a very happy Onam. If you're drawn to how ancient communities worship and pacify powerful regional energies, you will enjoy my book Daiva, where I've explored the rich folk traditions and spirit worship of Tulunadu. You can find the link to grab your copy in the description below.